How to start coding in 2026? So this is one of the most discussed questions on the internet today. Is coding even relevant in 2026 and beyond? Well, now that AI is able to build large projects, be it front end, back end, you name it. Just to answer that question, yes, coding is still relevant. We'll talk about how to look at coding now going forward. But before that, just a quick introduction for people who don't know me. I'm the founder of India's largest mentor community app called Mentro. I led engineering teams at Curie Money and worked at places like Vedantu Geo. Did GSOC twice in my college, if you're counting, and have been an open source org admin ever since. So अगर तुम 12th standard में हो, college fresher हो, or even someone who is looking to switch your job, yeah, completely coming from a non-tech background, this video should answer most of your questions regarding this topic and at least get you started for the next 6 months, if not more. So with AI in the picture, people are very confused about whether they should start coding or not. And if yes, then what and how. So think of AI as a calculator. So to use a calculator, you need to ask it when to do addition, subtraction, multiplication or division, etc. Right? Which essentially means that you beforehand need to know what these activities or functions essentially are and when to use them as per use case. AI can be good at generating code, building projects, but it still can't reason, think, and problem solve based on real life use cases. You need to tell it very clearly what it needs to do. So with that logic, the fundamentals of problem solving becomes very, very important. And with that comes the question, how do you even learn problem solving and the fundamentals? So to answer that question, I personally like to answer it this way. Pick a coding language out of two, either Python or JavaScript. As simple as that. If you're a complete beginner and just starting out, choose Python. It has less syntax jargon and will help you understand the fundamentals and core concepts much quicker. If you already have a coding background, let's say आपने स्कूल में Java या C++ सीखा हुआ है and you have certain basics cleared out, then probably JavaScript is a better option to choose. It will help you get your hands dirty much quicker and you can sort of kickstart your project development career instantly. It will help you build projects much faster. You can build front end, you can build back end with the help of frameworks like React.js, Node.js, which are essentially frameworks built for JavaScript. Bottom line, if you're just sitting there confused and procrastinating on what language to choose or even whether you should do coding or not, just pick Python and get started. As simple as that. Python gives you leverage to do a lot of things, such as backend development with frameworks like Django or Fast API, which are one of the most trending frameworks being used in the industry. Most importantly, it gives you a leverage for these AI engineer roles coming into the mix where you need to train, custom LLMs as per business use cases. Trust me, the demand for Python devs is going to be skyrocketed going forward, in my opinion. Let's talk about what exactly should you learn first. The essentials. देखो coding का foundation same होता है, language आप कुछ भी pick करो. There are 7 concepts that remain the standard for any coding language you pick. Firstly, variables. Secondly, data types, which includes your arrays, strings, lists, and any non-primitive data types. Thirdly, conditions, the if-else statements. Fourthly, your loops, which is one of the most important topics in coding. It can be for loop, while loop, or do while loop if you are using Java. Fifthly, functions. Again, very, very important concept. Sixthly, any kind of lists or custom arrays that your language provides. Seventhly, dictionaries or hash maps if I have to talk about Java. So if you are familiar with these 7 topics in any programming language, more often than not, you'll find your life easy in coding. Once you're clear with these topics, start doing basic problem solving. When I say basic problem solving, I'm talking about problems like print the first 10 prime numbers. Do the sum of numbers in an array. As it sounds, trust me, when you start writing code for these, it becomes a challenge. And if you're able to do this while you're learning coding for the first time, you get a hang of it. A problem like reverse a string. If you're given a string variable, how do you essentially reverse it? Spend at least 1 to 2 weeks doing basic problem solving. If possible, go on some simple online compilers. No coding IDE needed. Don't need to download anything like a VS Code locally, set up an environment or anything of that sort. Just go to any online coding editor and just start writing code. No use of libraries or any predefined functions at all. Go on to LeetCode. There will be filters available. You start solving easy type questions. You can actually filter out, questions based on difficulty. So there are 3 difficulties: easy, medium, and hard. You'll find on LeetCode. Search for these particular topics and start solving these topics, which I'm just going to mention. Firstly, arrays. Secondly, strings. Thirdly, recursion. Then comes graphs, dynamic programming, and trees. Probably note it down. These are the 6 topics that most of the major tech companies ask in their interviews questions based on top of. इनके बाहर से बहुत ही rarely companies will be asking you questions. At the same time, these are the most interesting topics when I'm talking about coding and data structures and algorithms in general. Whenever you are doing coding, data structures and algorithms is going to play a very, very important role. When I was talking about those 7 pointers, DSA comes, as a superset of it. Probably a primitive, data structure would be a string. A non-primitive can be, you can, create a whole, custom class which you can, load up in your memory. You can assign custom variables to it. As you, start coding, you'll, get to know more about it. When you're practicing these questions from these topics on Lead Code, trust me, there will be a lot of questions that you won't be able to answer, and it's completely fine. It's completely fine to, look at the tutorials or go to the solution section and just check the solutions. What you won't want to do is कि memorize कर लो solutions को. That's probably very intuitive कि यार इसको मतलब that's probably the first reaction which your brain gives you. But if you can avoid that and rather look at the pattern, the approach which people have taken towards solving that particular problem, that's something which can help you in the longer run. Because trust me, there will be problems on the similar pattern, but the data will be changed. Probably a completely different kind of use case will be in front of you, which probably requires you to use that same approach, but still you won't be able to crack that. So it's very important you understand the approach towards a problem and see the patterns right in front of you. So after you've spent a month on doing this problem solving on, let's say, a platform like Lead Code, then you'll get enough confidence to get your hands dirty in building projects. Start or pick very easy and intuitive projects. It can be a command line CLI based tool where you, like, let's say, are printing some output or have made a snake game on your computer terminal, right, or a command prompt if you are a Windows user. Or even go ahead to make simple GUI applications or simple backends if you have started with coding something like a Python. Explore frameworks like Fast API. It's very intuitive to build backend systems with Fast API. So probably it gives you a head start, and that's one of the reasons why you probably have chosen Python in the first place to start coding. That it gives you a leverage to even get into the development world faster. So spend around 2 to 3 weeks building these basic projects, however basic it might look at, but this is essentially helping you boost your confidence for the much larger tasks ahead of you. Once you have spent this 1 month, trust me, you'll get enough confidence into building a much larger project. So whenever you're building a larger project, try to find a real life problem statement. I mean, look around you, trust me, you'll find enough problem statements. Now this can be a problem statement that is probably affecting a million of users, or it can also probably be affecting only 10 people around you. Trust me, the scale doesn't matter. Just look at a problem statement, however niched it is. Actually, it's probably good that it is a niche problem statement. Then others, or the chances are less that many people are not building a project around it. So automatically it gives you that unique leverage that you have built something unique. So you pick up that problem statement, think of a solution. Again, like, you see where the problem solving mindset is coming into the picture. You can never take the problem solving mindset out of an engineer. If you have this ability, like, trust me, kitna bhi AI aa jaye, no one is going to take your job. So develop this mindset, pick a real life problem statement, build a solution around it, and try to get some real users. Trust me, there's no better validation than getting real users who are using your product or your project, whatever you want to call it. So probably, I would like this video to be very closely related to the topic. Of course, there are much more things that you can do beyond this, but this essentially is, good for you to at least get started for the next 3 months, right? Just get your hands dirty, get confidence, and probably you will be prepared for the much larger things ahead of you, which you can probably do, which probably will be sharing over the next set of videos. One thing which you can do while you are into coding and you are exploring a bunch of things, doing problem solving, building these basic projects, or even probably working on a real life problem statement, is probably go out in the industry, go to a few networking events, talk to real life software engineers, what kind of role they actually have. Because trust me, back in my initial years of college, or probably back in my school days, I didn't know anything about software engineering, or rather the practical impact of software engineering. I started coding when I got into the college. probably in my very first year of college. But when you talk to these people who are already in the industry, you get a head start about what you are actually looking forward to. Probably it might not align. So that would be a good time for you to realize this, and probably you can actually switch your career or choose something different, because trust me, coding is not for everyone, and ideally I would not even recommend this, that's really not something which interests you or you're obsessed with it. Probably you should choose something else. But yeah, probably talk to people, get an idea of what you're signing up for. Go to hackathons. You'll find a lot of hackathons in places, especially like Bangalore. A lot of developers, students, school students, college students, they are coming together, working on a lot of cool problem statements, building stuff together, be it hardware projects, be it software projects, just hacking around, right? Building solutions around it. So when you work in an environment like that, ideas come onto the forefront. You get a lot of clarity about what you're doing, right? And of course, you meet a lot of like-minded people. And if you're a part of community, there's nothing better than it, right? If you have people around you who are working on the same vision, that's the best place to be in. So yeah, probably that's majorly what I'm going to talk about in this video. And yeah, looking forward to chatting more with you guys.